Am I the a-hole for telling 3 of my 4 siblings that they should be more understanding of our oldest sister and thanking her instead of treating her like shit for not celebrating our mother for Mother's Day? I, 22 male, am the youngest of my siblings. My oldest sister Casey, 31 female, is my hero. She has done so much for me and the rest of our siblings, 23 female, 25 male, and 26 female, and they never acknowledge it and only talk about Casey being a bitch to our mom or saying she should be pulling her weight more when it comes to mom. Background on our childhood is probably relevant here. Casey never really had a parent. Our parents were both shitty people, and our father was in and out of prison. Our mother was super hard on Casey and treated her like shit. Casey is also the kid who looks most like our father. Our mother was never kind or caring toward Casey, but she wanted her to be those things for us, so she pushed our mother to take care of us and would be there in the background trying to make it happen. But Casey was often left doing a lot too. She walked us all to school when we were little. She didn't hang out with friends because she was babysitting or taking care of us. Casey's birthday was forgotten for years, and it was pretty much every year until I wrote it down and made sure I brought it up so she'd be celebrated. The rest of our birthdays were celebrated because Casey wrote it down for our mother. She knew it was pointless doing it for herself because our mother hated her. Casey got a part-time job when she was 14 and would help pay for stuff. She saved up to go to prom and spent all the money on us because our mother had none at the time. She didn't go to prom. Instead, she worked that night for more money. I always saw it. My siblings always saw our mother as their hero and would get mad at Casey for fighting with Mother. They saw our mother as the greatest, and she treated us better generally than Casey, but the only reason she was involved with us was because of Casey. So for Mother's Day this year, my siblings all wanted to do this big celebration of our mother because she was diagnosed with chronic liver disease, and they fear she won't be around much longer. Casey wanted no part in it. My other siblings were pissed. I told them Casey owed our mother nothing, and they fought with me. It was a huge deal, and when Casey didn't show up on Mother's Day, it set them off. I wasn't there either, and I chose to go to Casey's and celebrate with her and my brother-in-law and their kids. My other siblings were being so shitty to Casey in our group chat, so I told them they should be more understanding after all Casey had done for us, and I listed examples, and given the fact our mother treated her like shit, and I listed examples. I told them Casey was more deserving of our Mother's Day celebrations and not Mother. They called me a bad son and a bad brother and said I was sick just like Casey. Am I the a-hole?
You're definitely not the a-hole. The mom wasn't a mom most of the time, and your oldest sibling picked up most of the weight of taking care of her mom's kids. That's so unfair to Casey or any child to have to do their own mother's job, and it absolutely ruins the relationship between the oldest and the mom.
Not just of us, but sort of Mother too. Casey knew it would be devastating to the rest of us if something happened to our mother, so she did her best to make sure she was okay. It was way too much for a kid, and especially a kid who was being so badly mistreated by that same mother.
Tell Casey there's more than a handful of internet strangers who think she's a hero as well. What she did for you, even the ones they don't see it, is beyond heart of gold.
Not the a-hole. I'm sure Casey is incredibly grateful that one of her siblings has the compassion and critical thinking to see the situation for what it was. I'd say your support means more to Casey than you can ever know. You're a great brother, OP.
I'm ashamed of my other siblings for not seeing it. The fact that they only know our oldest sister's birthday because of their youngest sibling caring enough should have woken them up back then. But the fact that Casey is still here supporting and loving us, despite how Mother has treated her, and even how they've treated Casey, just makes me so annoyed. Casey deserves so much better. There is no way we would have made it through our childhood like we did without her.
Not the a-hole, but it's important to recognize that addressing toxic behavior within a family can be a harrowing task. It seems you've taken a stand for what's right, Supporting Casey when your other siblings are blinded by their own narratives or biases. Maybe the delivery was harsh, but sometimes strong words are the only ones that can shake people from their complacency. The fact that you see and acknowledge the sacrifice and strength of Casey makes you the opposite of an a-hole. It takes courage to speak up against unfairness, especially within family dynamics. Keep advocating for compassion and understanding. It might just pave the way for a healthier relationship among all of you in the long run.
Not the a-hole. Keep celebrating your older sister. You told your siblings a truth they don't want to believe. You can't make them believe it, but you're not the a-hole for telling them.
Am I the a-hole for walking out of my mom's house on Mother's Day, even after she lost my sister not too long ago, because she was disrespectful to my wife? My sister died 6 months ago, so yesterday was my mom's first Mother's Day after the loss of one of her kids. And the kid who made her a mom at that. I, 24 male, wanted to make it special for Mom, and my wife was more than happy to help me, even though Mother's Day is rough for her because she was not given a good or even a tries her best mother. So the day is a painful reminder that my wife didn't ever have a healthy maternal figure in her life. Father's Day is similar, but she never knew her father, and never had a good father figure either. My wife still wanted to help make Mom's first Mother's Day without my sister special. We went around getting all my mom's favorite things. Favorite flowers, ice cream, chocolate, a reservation for her favorite restaurant, a scarf in her favorite color because scarves are her favorite thing ever. We also compiled a little video of my sister. Mom talked about Mother's Day being more difficult without her and wanting to watch some home movies of her, so we did something special with that. My wife also helped me recreate a dance I did for my mom on Mother's Day when I was a kid, because she talked about that a lot. Basically, it was just meant to show how much we love her and help her through this not-so-easy Mother's Day. My wife played a very big role. She even suggested bringing breakfast to her and serving her breakfast in bed. Yesterday morning came, we made her favorite breakfast and brought it to Mom at her and Dad's. After she came out of her room is when things went to shit. Mom saw my wife and asked what she was doing there, and didn't look like she wanted my wife there. It surprised me because my wife was with us last year too. Mom was grumbling and hostile to my wife. I told Mom that we'd planned some special things for her. This didn't change anything, and she told me she didn't want my wife there. Then she told my wife she had no right to intrude, and why would she want her there? My wife said she was sorry, she hadn't wanted to upset her. I told Mom that she was being rude, and it wasn't right to take her sadness out on my wife. Mom said she just wanted us to spend Mother's Day as a family, and I told her my wife is family. My mother grumbled and Dad asked me to lay off. My wife said it was fine. But then Mom started on my wife a few minutes later, and after she'd opened most of her gifts, and she said she was tired of her being here, and her own mother hadn't even wanted her, so why did she think she'd be welcome? That was too much for me. I told Mom I should have left earlier, but I wanted to be understanding and supportive, but she had crossed a line, and I was done, that she could celebrate Mother's Day without us. My wife and I left. She felt bad, and I told her not to, and I apologized for not leaving sooner. She told me I didn't need to leave, and I told her I did. Mom and Dad both texted me countless times yesterday, saying I should go back, and how could I abandon Mom after she lost my sister? Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. Your mother's grief doesn't give her a blank check to be absolutely vile to other people. While fresh, I'd write down the top 3 or 5 awful things she said and send them back to her and your dad, and the boundary would be that until Mom gets therapy, understands why her behavior was way over the line, sincerely apologized, and actually acted motherly, that you would not be seeing her as your job is to love and protect your wife above all others. Seriously, the things your mom said to your wife were just awful.
This is a great idea, not the a-hole, and your wife is a saint.
Not the a-hole. Your mother is grieving, but that's no excuse for her actions. If anything, you're a saint for tolerating her actions as much as you did. I would cut my mom out of my life if she disrespected my wife like that.
Not the a-hole. I lost my brother and Mom's first child a few years back due to an overdose. My mom had a very hard time with it and ended up in the hospital during the height of COVID. So the best we could do was knock on her window and wave send small gifts through Amazon. She was thrilled because we made the effort. I know your family is going through a lot, but that doesn't give her the right to be nasty to your wife.
Not the a-hole. Your mom is grieving. It's not an excuse to be such an a-hole. Your mom expects you to choose her over your wife and clearly expected you to send your wife away and stay with her. Do not let your mother's grief and meanness hurt your wife any further. Your wife grew up feeling unwanted and unloved, and your mom was so mean that she went right for that to hurt your wife. Choose your wife, dude. Tell your mom she needs grief counseling before she loses both of her children.
Not the a-hole. Your mother's grief is no excuse to say what she did to your wife. Absolutely not. I gasped. She was intentionally cruel, and defending your wife was 100% necessary. Your mother needs to sincerely apologize. Don't even ask for the apology. When she continues to call or ask you to visit, just say, "If my wife isn't considered family, then neither am I."
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.